I just think capitalism is stupid and it doesn't work. I mean, obviously, look at our country, it doesn't work.
Okay, can we pause it there for 1 second? My favorite is when people who are wearing things that they bought at a store that are much nicer than anything they could get in a communist country are like, capitalism obviously doesn't work. She said while wearing a sweatshirt that she got at a store and sunglasses she got at a store and carrying a purse that she got at a store. Yes, communism is obvious. Just look at our country. It doesn't work. Yes.
I just think capitalism is.
What is capitalism? The civilization of mankind can be traced to the establishment of property rights. With property rights, individuals could own land, capital, and goods, and then trade or sell them to others. This economic activity is referred to as the market. This doesn't mean it necessarily takes place in a physical market, it simply means that goods and services are voluntarily traded. For most of human history, property rights have been limited to those in power. For example, a king or lord had ultimate control over those who lived under their protection. If the king desired beets, farmers were to farm beets. If the lord needed horseshoes, blacksmiths forged horseshoes. Ordinary people had the ability to trade among themselves, but those in power could direct their production if they so desired, or punish those who resisted. The emergence of capitalism changed this. Capitalism is mass production of goods to satisfy the needs of the greatest number of people. Capitalism was revolutionary by recognizing property rights for all, regardless of background and social standing. Under capitalism, even the most vulnerable in society had an absolute claim to their own labor and property. It did not guarantee equality of property, but capitalism eliminated any right by anyone else to enforce.
Bum bum ba. Bum bum ba. Bum bum ba. Bum bum bum. Capitalism relies on free market conditions to create wealth and drive innovation. Individuals that control businesses they own, prices. Determined
Full natural resources is now a hellhole.
What happened in Venezuela?
Change communism and following capitalism and the transition of a society to communism, characterized by the imperfect implementation. I'm Mr. Beat, and now I'm going to say some dirty words. And hey, will you stop censoring me? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Now, capitalism, socialism, and communism.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Watch your language. I am offended.
Anyway, let's first hear what the critics have to say about capitalism.
You're a very, very successful, very rich filmmaker, apart from everything else you do. In a way, that is capitalism. I mean, you've got a business.
Is it
you have
really?
a company.
Oh.
Well, isn't it in its
really?
purest sense, isn't it?
What pure? There's nothing pure about capitalism.
Is there not, though? Has it
It's
just
not
been
capitalism.
corrupted?
Unfortunately, over time, capitalism has spun wildly out of control, transforming rapidly from a force for positive social change into a brutal system of oppression that's holding humanity back and destroying billions of lives.
So how many people in contemporary society, let alone across capitalism's long history, die due to this economic system? Capitalism is global, and around the world 8 million people die from lack of clean drinking water. Roughly another 8 million people die from hunger, and on top of that, another 3 million die from vaccine-treatable diseases. Adding in room for error, let's just take it to a grand total of 20 million deaths per year due to the lack of food, water, and vaccines.
Nice. Now let's hear all the
Not all natural deodorants last 24 hours, but Native does. My pants.
all the great things people have to say about socialism.
Socialism has failed every place that it has been attempted.
How many people under 30 and 40 know so little about
The world feels pretty divided. Currently, 81% of both liberals and conservatives have unfavorable views towards those on the other side. But is there actually a fundamental biological difference between liberals and conservatives? On the surface, we can see some funny differences, like conservatives like meat and potatoes more, while liberals tend to like trying food from other cultures more. In general, conservatives prefer purebred dogs while liberals prefer mixed breeds, and liberals are okay with free verse poetry while conservatives prefer it to rhyme. But as we study more, we realize that the differences are much deeper. When put through MRI brain scans, it turns out that liberals are more likely to have a larger anterior cingulate cortex, which is associated with understanding and monitoring conflict, while conservatives have a larger right amygdala, which helps process fear and anxiety. And that makes sense, given the years of research that have shown people tend to become more conservative when they feel threatened or afraid. After 9/11, for example, the US became politically more conservative, with studies showing increased support for issues like national security and military spending. But studies have also found that conservatives and liberals employ US became politically more conservative with studies showing increased support for issues like national security and military spending. But studies have also found that conservatives and liberals employ different cognitive styles. Conservatives excel when it comes to more structured and organized problems or questions, whereas liberals tend to be more flexible and less likely to commit errors with questions involving conflicting information and requiring fast reaction times. One study looking at dorm rooms even found that, on average, conservative students' rooms were less messy than liberals. But they also experience pain in different ways, so much so that one study was able to predict who was liberal or conservative just by viewing brain scans of them looking at graphic photos containing mutilations. In this instance, liberal brains were more active in the S2 or somatosensory 2 region, which is normally activated when you're in pain, but also when you see someone else suffering. It's essentially scientific evidence for the bleeding heart liberal stereotype, which doesn't mean conservatives are uncaring, but that their minds just respond to graphic images differently. In America, this can explain how Democrats and Republicans perceive the world in fundamentally different ways. It's difficult to grasp how someone on the other side of politics thinks because we tend to overestimate the extent to which our opinions, beliefs, and values are normal. Psychologists refer to this as false consensus bias. For example, if you heard Yanny in the Yanny versus Laurel debate, it may have felt that you were the normal one and it was insane that anyone could be hearing Laurel. Apply this logic to politics and you can see why people have such polarizing ideas on issues